The whole galaxy was watching. Across thousands of systems, screens flickered to life. In council halls, warships, private homes, and trade stations, beings of every kind paused to witness what the Dominion called a lesson. Inside a bright white containment chamber aboard the Dominion flagship, a human girl knelt on a metal floor. Her name was Elena Ward. Cold lights shone down on her. Her wrists were locked in magnetic restraints. A thin silver band circled her neck to monitor her pulse and brain activity. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. She was not a soldier. She was not a diplomat. She was 16 years old. The Dominion did not care. To them, humans were new to the galactic stage. Loud, emotional, easy to provoke. The Dominion High Command believed that if they broke one human in front of everyone, the rest would fall into line. Fear was simple. Fear worked. At least, that was what they believed. Behind a wall of reinforced glass, Dominion officers stood in dark uniforms. Their expressions were calm, almost bored. This was not personal to them. It was strategy. "Begin transmission," one commander ordered. The red light on the broadcast drone turned on. Across the galaxy, the image sharpened. Elena lifted her head slightly. Her brown hair fell over her face, but her eyes were open. She did not beg. She did not scream. She only breathed. A Dominion official stepped forward and read from a prepared statement. His voice echoed through the chamber and across every screen in known space. "Let this serve as proof," he said. "Humanity is fragile. Humanity is mortal. The Dominion does not tolerate resistance." The official stepped back. A medical technician pressed a control pad. There was no dramatic weapon, no explosion, only a quiet surge of energy from the restraint system. Elena's body stiffened. Her breath stopped. Her head lowered. The monitors above her flickered. Heart rate dropping. Brain activity unstable. Then, flat line, a long, steady tone filled the room. The medical AI confirmed it in a cold mechanical voice. Cardiac activity terminated. Neural activity ceased. Across the galaxy, the sound echoed through millions of speakers. The broadcast ended. Screens went dark. In Dominion space, commanders nodded in approval. Data analysts began preparing reports. News outlets repeated the official line. Humans were biologically weak, emotionally unstable, easy to break. On Earth, there was silence. Back inside the containment chamber, the lights remained bright. Elena's body lay still on the metal floor. 2 guards entered to secure the remains. They were young by Dominion standards, assigned to low-risk duty. One of them, a junior guard named Sarek, glanced at the monitor out of habit. He frowned. "Wait," he said quietly. His partner sighed. "It's over," logged the body. Sarek stepped closer to the wall display. The heart rate was still flat, but another line on the screen caught his eye. Neural scan. There was a flicker, very small, almost invisible. He leaned in. The line moved again. "That's not possible," he whispered. He tapped the console to refresh the reading. For a moment, the line steadied. Then it spiked. Not wildly, not randomly. It rose in a slow, steady rhythm. Sarek felt his throat tighten. Her brain activity just increased. His partner looked over. "After death?" The medical AI responded automatically. Neural activity detected. Source: Subject Elena Ward. "That's a malfunction," the partner said quickly. "The surge must have damaged the scanner." Sarek shook his head. "The scanner is external. It wasn't connected to the restraint grid." He looked down at the timer. In the corner of the screen, time since cardiac termination, 36 minutes and 52 seconds. The seconds ticked forward. 36 minutes and 53 seconds. 36 minutes and 54 seconds. The neural activity continued to rise. Sarek swallowed. Should we notify command? His partner hesitated. Command had just declared the event a success. Reports were already being sent. To question it now would be to question Dominion authority. The timer reached 37 minutes. At that exact second, every light in the chamber flickered once. Just once. The steady hum of the machines changed pitch. almost too low to notice. Both guards froze. The neural activity line climbed higher. Still no heartbeat. Still no breathing. But the brain was not quiet. It was active, organized, as if something inside her mind was waking up slowly, piece by piece. Sarek felt a chill run through him. She's not supposed to be doing that. Behind the glass wall, the observation room stood empty now. The commanders had already left. The lesson had been delivered. The galaxy had moved on. But in the silent white chamber, something subtle had shifted. The surveillance camera in the upper corner rotated slightly, adjusting its focus. Then it glitched. For half a second, the image blurred. The feed cut to static. And when it returned, the neural activity line was still rising. The medical AI did not panic. It did not feel fear. It only recalculated. Inside the white containment chamber, Elena Ward's body remained motionless on the metal floor. Her heart monitor still showed a flat line. No pulse, no breath, but the neural scanner told a different story. Rechecking vitals, the AI announced in a calm voice. The scan repeated. Brain activity detected. Then higher. Not random. Not damaged. Organized. The pattern was smooth, almost mathematical. Signals moved across her cortex in steady waves, forming repeating structures. It looked less like a dying brain, and more like a system booting up. Outside the chamber, the junior guard Sarek felt his skin tighten. That's not decay, he whispered. His partner folded his arms tightly. It's residual energy. It's increasing. The display updated again. Neural synchronization. 12%. 15%. 19%. Still no heartbeat. Still no breathing. Yet the brain was not fading. It was aligning. Far above the containment level, inside the Dominion flagship's Central Tech Division, consoles began flashing amber. Encrypted channels activated. Unknown signal origin. Detention Block C. A technician frowned at her display. Who is transmitting from the lower decks? No one is authorized, another replied. Check for sabotage. They traced the signal. It did not come from a device. It did not come from a communication terminal. It came from inside the containment chamber, from the exact coordinates of Elena Ward. That's impossible, the technician said. Across the ship's internal network, small pulses of data began moving like quiet ripples in water. They did not trigger alarms at first. They moved between systems in low bandwidth, hiding inside routine diagnostics. To the Dominion, it looked like interference. To the medical AI, it looked like pattern formation. Back in the chamber, Sarek stared at the neural graph. Neural synchronization. 27%. 32%. Her body had not moved, but something inside her was organizing. What did they do to her? Sarek muttered. His partner stepped back toward the door. It doesn't matter. She's dead. Sarek shook his head slowly. Dead brains don't coordinate. A sharp tone echoed from the wall console. Self-repair protocol detected. Both guards turned toward the screen. What protocol? The partner demanded. The AI responded. Microscopic cellular reconstruction activity observed. On the display, a magnified scan of Elena's bloodstream appeared. Tiny particles, smaller than cells, moved in precise paths. They clustered around damaged tissue, sealing ruptures, repairing capillaries, rebuilding neural bridges. They're machines, Sarek said softly. No, the AI corrected. Organic-synthetic hybrid response. The Dominion had studied humans for years. They had scanned their soldiers, their diplomats, their civilians. Nothing in the records mentioned this. Above them, in Tech Command, the unknown signal grew stronger. Encrypted packets began pushing against internal firewalls. Not attacking. Testing. Shut down that Dex communication grid. The chief technician ordered. They tried. The command failed. Access denied. Denied, she repeated. By who? Authorization, biometric override. They checked the biometric ID. It matched Elena Ward. That's not possible, someone whispered. In the containment chamber, the debate between the guards grew louder. We should incinerate the body now, the partner said. stepping toward the wall controls. Before command finds out, Sarek hesitated. And if she's not dead? She flatlined. The neural synchronization climbed. 41%. 48%. The room temperature dropped slightly as the life support system rerouted energy without request. Sarek reached for his comm unit to report the anomaly. The device went silent in his hand. No signal. The door behind him hissed softly, then locked. From the inside, both guards turned slowly. "I didn't touch it," Sarek said. The control panel beside the door blinked red. Manual override unavailable. Across the detention block, one by one, security systems began responding to a new input. Not a hack, not a brute force breach. A handshake, as if the ship itself was recognizing something. Back inside Elena's body, the microscopic repair response intensified. Damaged heart tissue reconstructed in layers. Neural pathways brightened in steady patterns. Neural synchronization, 63%. 71%. Her fingers twitched. Both guards saw it. They froze. That was muscle memory. The partner said quickly, post-mortem reaction. Her hand moved again, this time slower, intentional. The air in the chamber felt heavier. Above them, the Dominion flagship's encrypted channels flickered across multiple systems. Other ships in the fleet began receiving faint echoes of the same signal. Origin confirmed, containment level C. "Is this a human weapon?" one technician asked. "No." The chief replied slowly, watching the synchronized waveform expand across her screen. "This is infrastructure integration." Back in the chamber, Elena's chest rose slightly. A breath. Shallow, but real. The flatline tone on the monitor cut off abruptly. A new rhythm appeared. Slow, weak, but steady. Sarek stumbled backward. She's restarting. Neural synchronization, 89%, 94%. The repair process completed in silence. The room lights flickered once, then twice. The magnetic restraints around her wrist disengaged with a soft click. Neither guard touched the controls. Elena's head lifted. Her eyes opened. They were calm, clear, no confusion, no fear. She did not look at the guards. She looked at the ceiling camera. Neural synchronization, 100%. In Tech Command, alarms began to trigger too late. Internal systems transferring priority access. Primary control rerouted. Authorization key, Elena Ward. The lights in the detention block blinked. Then, all at once, they went dark. Emergency sirens began to echo through the detention level. Red lights flashing long, slow pulses. The darkness for moments before it turned in pieces as backup systems struggled to come online. Boots pounded against metal floors as armed Dominion guards rushed toward containment chamber C. Inside the chamber, the door slid open with a quiet hiss. Elena Ward stepped into the corridor. She was barefoot. Her prison uniform was still torn and marked from before, but her posture was straight. Her breathing was slow and steady. Her face showed no anger, no panic, only focus. The guards at the far end of the corridor stopped running. They had been trained for combat. They had faced pirates, rebels, and battlefield chaos. Yet when they saw her standing there, something inside them hesitated. Security footage would later show something that none of them could explain. They began stepping backward before she moved at all. Elena took one step forward. The lights above her flickered softly, as if reacting to her presence. "Hold position," a Dominion officer shouted. Weapons were raised. Target locks activated. Energy rifles charged with a sharp rising hum. Elena did not speak. She did not run. She simply walked. Each step was quiet against the cold metal floor. The first guard fired. Nothing happened. The weapon's power cell went dark. The second guard tried. His rifle powered down instantly, as if it had never been charged. One by one, every weapon aimed at her failed. Energy drained. Systems shut off. Displays blinked red. "Power loss across the line," someone yelled. But there was no explosion. No visible force field. No attack. It was as if the energy itself refused to move against her. Above them, In the ship's command center, chaos spread quickly. Containment-level systems are unresponsive. Why are weapons failing? Who authorized the system's override? Technicians scrambled across consoles. The ship's central AI ran diagnostics at maximum speed, and then it reported something no one expected. Primary control shifting. Biometric priority detected. Identity confirmed. Elena Ward. That's impossible, a commander shouted. The AI did not argue. It only complied. Back in the corridor, Elena continued walking. The guards retreated step by step, not because she attacked them, not because she threatened them, because they could feel something changing. Humans had evolved on a dangerous world, a world of storms, predators, disease, and endless pressure. Survival was not optional. It was constant, under trauma. Human biology did not simply fail. It adapted. What the Dominion did not know was that humanity had studied that ability for decades. They had discovered something rare inside the human nervous system, a dormant response triggered only under extreme conditions, a neural failsafe. It did not create strength from nothing. It synchronized. Elena's nervous system had reached out during those 37 silent minutes. It had mapped the Dominion ship signals. It had felt the rhythm of the power grid, the pulse of its data streams. Now her body and the ship were in alignment. She reached an intersection in the corridor. Doors ahead of her opened automatically. Guards pressed against the walls, unsure whether to flee or kneel. Stop her, a voice demanded over the intercom. No one moved. Elena paused for a moment and closed her eyes. Across the ship, encrypted channels flickered brighter. A signal expanded outward from her position, moving through the fleet like a silent wave. She was not attacking. She was broadcasting. In the command center, screens began filling with unfamiliar code. Not aggressive, not destructive, informational, human encryption, a comm message embedded inside Dominion systems. Proof of what had happened. Proof that the execution had failed. Proof that humans were not as fragile as claimed. She's transmitting across our fleet, a technician whispered. To who? The commander demanded. Everyone. The Dominion had wanted a message. Now, they were receiving one. In the corridor, Elena resumed walking. The emergency siren slowly died out as the ship's control systems prioritized her biometrics over Dominion command authority. A squad of elite guards arrived at the end of the hall. Heavy armor. Advanced weapons. They raised their cannons. Power levels dropped to 0. The weapons shut down. The armor lights flickered and dimmed. One guard tried to activate manual mode. Authorization denied. Elena stopped a few meters away from them. She did not look angry. She looked tired, but determined. The guard stepped aside without being ordered. Above them, the Dominion flagship's navigation system shifted. Weapons arrays powered down. Defensive shields recalibrated. Control authority transferred. In the command center, every console displayed the same message. Primary system access reassigned. User, Elena Ward. The commander's hands trembled slightly. We killed her, he whispered. A technician corrected him softly. No, sir. He looked up slowly. We activated something. Throughout the fleet, Dominion ships reported similar disturbances. Minor at first, then spreading. The signal from the flagship had reached them, and they could not stop it. Elena reached the central lift at the end of the corridor. It opened before she touched it. She stepped inside. The doors closed gently. As the lift rose toward command level, the Dominion command staff realized the truth too late. They had not killed a prisoner. They had triggered a failsafe built into a species that evolved to survive the impossible. On every command screen aboard the flagship, system authority faded. Manual controls locked out. Override requests denied. Dominion command lost full control of the ship. Silence filled the Dominion flagship. Not the silence of peace. The silence of systems no longer listening. In the command chamber, every screen displayed the same thing. Primary authority, Elena Ward. No one spoke at first. The officers stared at their controls, pressing commands that did nothing. Override codes failed. Manual access was denied. Even emergency shutdown protocols would not respond. The lift doors at the end of the chamber opened softly. Elena stepped out. She walked barefoot across the polished floor. Her steps were quiet. Her breathing was steady. She did not look angry. She did not look proud. She looked certain. Guards near the chamber entrance lowered their weapons without being told. They had already learned those weapons would not function. Every system in the room hummed in perfect rhythm with her presence. A heartbeat echoed faintly through the chamber speakers. Not amplified, synchronized. Across Dominion space, communication arrays reactivated on their own. A transmission request appeared on every command screen. Origin, Terra. The Dominion commander swallowed and nodded to his communications officer. There was no point refusing. They did not control the channel anymore. The image of a Terran envoy appeared. He was calm, middle-aged, wearing a simple dark uniform with no decorations. His expression showed no anger, only clarity. "We are aware of the situation aboard your flagship," he said evenly. "No threats, no raised voice. You executed a human citizen," he continued. "You believe her biological response had ended." The commander tried to interrupt. The microphone did not respond. The envoy continued. "Humans do not always die immediately under extreme stress. Our species evolved on a world where survival required adaptation. Under specific conditions, our neural patterns enter a dormant recalibration state." The words echoed through the chamber. "Your medical systems detected a flat line. That was accurate. Cardiac function ceased, but neurological function reorganized." The envoy paused briefly. The 37-minute gap was not death. It was recovery. On the command screens, scientific data began to appear. Human biological scans, neural mapping charts, recorded research logs marked classified. The Dominion officers read in stunned silence. A rare anomaly in human neurology. When exposed to extreme trauma, certain human brains shut down outward function and redirect all remaining energy into structured neural repair. Not random, organized, intentional. While in this state, the envoy said calmly, "The human nervous system seeks environmental patterns. It adapts to available infrastructure." The commander looked at Elena. She stood quietly near the central console. She was not touching it. She did not need to. Every system light pulsed gently in rhythm with her heart. The envoy continued. "Your execution chamber was surrounded by advanced signal networks. Your ship operates on a synchronized power lattice. During recalibration, her neural lattice interfaced with that structure." He folded his hands behind his back. "She did not return from death. She recovered." A heavy silence settled over the chamber. Elena turned slightly and looked at the main viewport. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass. The Dominion commander finally spoke, though he knew he had no control left. "What do you want?" The envoy answered without hesitation. "Nothing." The word hung in the air. No retaliation. No war declaration. Only correction. On the screens, a final document appeared. Human classification revision. Dominion scientific miscalculation acknowledged. The envoy's eyes softened slightly. "You believe fear was universal," he said. "It is not. Persistence is." Elena walked slowly toward the center of the chamber. As she passed each officer, doors unlocked. Consoles reactivated, but only partially. Enough to function, not enough to threaten. She stopped near the command platform. The officers looked at her. No blood had been spilled. No attack had been made. Yet every door, every weapon system, every defense grid now responded to her biometric pattern. Her heartbeat set the rhythm of the flagship. The Dominion commander lowered himself into his chair slowly. He understood. They had not been defeated by force. They had been corrected by biology. Elena looked around the chamber once. Calmly. She had no weapon. She needed none. The envoy's final words echoed through the room. "Record this moment. Share it. The galaxy should understand the 37-minute rule." The transmission ended. For several long seconds, no one moved. Then the Dominion commander stood carefully. He removed the insignia from his collar and placed it on the command console. He bowed his head slightly toward Elena. Around him, officers followed. They surrendered, not to a conqueror, but to a fact. The Dominion flagship did not belong to them anymore. Every system, every shield, every silent weapon array responded to one simple signal, the steady rhythm of a human heartbeat. The guards started running long before anyone gave the order, not because Elena attacked them, not because she shouted, but because they understood. When the detention block lost power and their weapons failed, they felt fear. When she walked past them without anger, they felt confusion. But when the ship itself began to answer to her heartbeat, they felt something deeper. They understood that what they had witnessed was not power. It was survival. The Dominion had always feared strong enemies. Armies, fleets, weapons large enough to split planets. They knew how to fight strength. They did not know how to fight resilience. Elena stood inside the command chamber as Dominion officers transmitted the advisory across their networks. Every Allied system received it. Every Council world replayed the footage. Not the execution, but what came after. The message was simple. Human classification revised. Do not provoke persistent species. Do not assume biological weakness equals vulnerability. The galaxy listened. There were no threats attached to the statement. No demand for surrender. No promise of revenge. Only correction. A Terran retrieval vessel arrived quietly at the edge of Dominion space. It did not deploy weapons. It did not raise shields. It waited. The flagship's docking systems responded automatically to Elena's biometrics. A single corridor extended between the two ships. She walked toward it without hesitation. Dominion guards lined the walls of the docking bay. None of them raised their eyes as she passed. None of them blocked her path. They had run earlier in the corridors. Now they simply stepped aside. She stopped at the threshold of the airlock. Behind her, the massive Dominion flagship remained still, system stable but no longer fully obedient to its original masters. A Dominion officer stood nearby, unsure if he should speak. Elena turned slightly, her voice calm and steady. "You broadcast my death," she said. The officer swallowed. She met his eyes. "Now broadcast this." She stepped into the Terran vessel. The airlock sealed. Moments later, control authority of the Dominion flagship returned gradually to its command crew. Not fully, not instantly, but enough to function, enough to remember. The Terran ship disengaged and drifted away without escort. No fleet followed. No retaliation came from Earth. The silence that spread afterward was heavier than any war. Across the galaxy, governments reviewed the advisory again and again. Scientists studied the data. Military leaders adjusted doctrines quietly. Humanity was not reclassified as a threat. It was reclassified as something harder to define. Persistent. On the Dominion flagship, normal operations slowly resumed. Damaged pride lingered longer than damaged systems. Days later, in a training hall aboard a different Dominion cruiser, a young cadet approached his commander. The cadet had watched the footage many times. He had seen Elena walk barefoot through armed guards. He had seen weapons fail. He had seen officers surrender without a fight. He did not understand. "Sir," the cadet asked carefully, "why did they run from a single human?" The commander was older now than he felt. His voice was steady, but quieter than before. He did not answer immediately. He looked out at the stars beyond the viewport. "We didn't run from her," he said at last. The cadet frowned slightly. "Then why?" The commander turned to face him. "We ran from what humanity becomes when cornered." The cadet considered that. Humans did not roar like war beasts. They did not conquer like empires. They endured. And when endurance met technology, when biology met infrastructure, when silence replaced fear, they adapted. Back on Earth, Elena stood alone on a quiet balcony overlooking the ocean. The sky was calm. Waves rolled gently against the shore. Her heart beat steadily. Normal. Ordinary. She did not feel powerful. She felt alive. The Dominion had tried to prove that humans were fragile. They had proven something else instead. Across the galaxy, the story spread without dramatic music or heroic speeches. A human had died. 37 minutes later, she had walked. No war followed. No revenge fleets gathered. Just a quiet change in how the galaxy measured strength. They thought humans were fragile. They forgot fragile things evolve.